Breaking today, the Daily Mail has cried an overwhelming vindication after the dramatic £50 million courtroom win against the Daily Mail, as new questions are being asked about the state of Prince Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle as she stayed away from his darkest moments, with onlookers saying he looked to be a broken man at Chatham House. Let me show you the front page of today's Daily Mail. A historic headline, one word, vindicated. But you can see the front page too of the Daily Star, which declares that Prince Harry is now hacked off. And that's for sure, isn't he? And Harry caned is the headline on the front page of the Sun newspaper. But the problem is, Harry can be as defiant in defeat as he wants. But his life's work is now in tatters. He tried his best, as the Daily Telegraph reported, to grin and bear it at Chatham House. However, as Hannah Furness, the royal editor who was there, reported, Harry is not known for his poker face. He is a heart-on-sleeve sort of person, for better and for worse, and the court case result was etched all over his face. And for very good reason. Because he can come out and claim, as he has, that the judge in the case, Justice Nicklin, is responsible for a whitewash and that this is all some type of great big conspiracy. But we can all sit here and laugh and poke at him and say, you have turned yourself, mate, into a humiliation. Because the High Court judgment found that Harry gave limited evidence on the issues at the heart of the case and strayed beyond factual evidence while in the witness box. In other words, he lied. The Duke and other claimants are open to criticism for the way they pursued extremely serious allegations that senior associated staff lied to the Leveson inquiry into press standards. Evidence gathered by the legal research team behind the claims was unconvincing and inconsistent, perhaps because so many of them were criminals. The evidence of a private detective whose alleged forged statement led to Harry, Elton John, Doreen Lawrence and Elizabeth Hurley joining the action was comprehensively undermined. So as Richard Eden of the Daily Mail posted, let's be clear here, Prince Harry is accusing a High Court judge who serves the Crown of a whitewash, i.e. a cover-up or corruption. How can King Charles allow Harry to remain a Councillor of State who is legally entitled to stand in for the monarch? Let me answer that, Richard Eden. He can't. Calvin Mackenzie, former Sun editor, writing, grateful if Harry would take his unpaid legal bills, his conceit, his hatred of the UK, and his heartlessness to his sick father and F off back to Montecito. Andrew Fox described the situation as remarkable and added, importantly, remember, in a civil case, the burden is 51%, more likely rather than not. Harry couldn't even prove that. He added, it's so sad. I remember him at Sandhurst as a lovely bloke, but thicker than multiple planks. I hope whoever is advising him gets a grip. The problem is there's one person advising him. Her name, Meghan Markle. And Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large of the Daily Mail, says that it is really shocking that Meghan Markle chose not to be by Harry's side as the Duke of Delusion suffered through this humiliating loss all on his own.
So she wasn't by his side for this really momentous occasion. Yeah. And at 2 p.m. today, when we found out the result, he was doing a speech at Chatham House and his voice was shaking. He was all alone. He was clearly broken by the whole thing. Yeah. His wife wasn't by his side. But yeah, we may see her. We don't know for sure. We may see her in Birmingham for the Invictus Games event, which is to mark 1 year until the Invictus Games. Yet he's saying now that he's going to fight on. I don't exactly know what he means by that. From my understanding, he can't appeal.
The impact on these journalists has been utterly horrendous. Like Katie Nicholl, now the royal editor of Vanity Fair and one of the hosts of Piers Morgan's new royal show, but for a long time, the senior diary editor at the Mail on Sunday confirmed that Prince Harry had indeed invited her to party with him, something that has been now confirmed in court by Justice Nicklin, no matter what Harry says.
I partied with Prince Harry. That story came out in the court when, you know, he couldn't remember, but he invited me into the party, into his inner circle. I did things the old-fashioned way, went and knocked on doors, curated contacts, got people on side. I remember being told when I was under questioning, but, you know, the Queen's late cousin, Lady Elizabeth Anson, you know, at the time was a woman in her 70s. Why on earth would she speak to you? This sort of sense of disbelief that these sorts of people would speak to us. Well, they did. And in all of those years I spent at the Mail on Sunday, I never witnessed anything in terms of what we were accused of doing. And the accusations were despicable. So I feel emotional. I feel vindicated, Piers, is how I feel.
Well, you've been completely vindicated, as has the Mail, completely.
So what happens if you're Comical Ali? If you're Prince Harry's Comical Ali and Baghdad, or in this case, your Montecito mansion is collapsing? Well, if you're Chris Shipp of Woke ITV, you remind everyone, despite this terrible, humiliating, career-defining, reputation-destroying result, that Prince Harry has been right in the past. Oh, and by the way, he really likes me. He really likes me. He waved at me. Look at this.
And remember, for Harry, he's won before against the publishers of The Sun and the publishers of The Mirror. This is the first time he's lost against a tabloid. And I was there today when he left that event he was at, the Invictus Games. I said to him, how painful was it to lose against the Mail? He stuck his thumbs up at me there, as you can see, got in his car and left. The other issue is, we spoke on this programme yesterday, didn't we, about the whole hoo-ha about where is he going to stay, where's he not going to stay. And one of the reasons Buckingham Palace gave for not staying at the palace was, well, if you're going to make a statement after the case, what might you say, and therefore where does it affect the king in terms of his constitutional position? Harry said today this was a whitewash, and he also criticised the judge, Mr Justice Nicklin, a High Court judge. And remember, it's the judiciary. They dispense justice in the name of who? The king.
You, sir, are an embarrassment. He is still, even now, shilling for Harry to get his security.
Here, have a look at these pictures of Harry today leaving. They had to call some members of the police, the Metropolitan Police. Only 2 officers, as you can see there. But with the whole debate about his security, his team had to say, excuse me, there's so many press and members of the public here, this could become a public order offence, let's get the police in. So lots of issues with Prince Harry, as ever, all coming together on one day today.
There's no one there. They're journalists. He even posted this on X, saying, oh, it seems Prince Harry's team have asked the Met Police to help police the crowds, but had to admit that it is mostly media. And you can actually see that very clearly from this video.
These guys have been counted all the time of fine because they've been there throughout. So we can move them back now.
It's all one big cabal, and these people have all been exposed in the mainstream media. Good work here from Paula M, who discovered this video of Cameron Walker, the royal correspondent of GB News, who I have been telling you for a long time is now a shill, a propagandist for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle because of his close relationship with Omid Scobie. She writes, look how Cameron Walker exits all shadily the Invictus venue before Prince Harry arrived. I guess he was getting the Sussex briefing. Look at this. Don't miss a single update on the stories that actually matter. I'm breaking down the news every day, so make sure you subscribe to never miss a beat. Click that subscribe button right now. And great work from the Royal Grift 2, who posted this real photo. Look closely. She writes, Chris Shipp is the new Tom Bradby. Cameron Walker is the new Omid Scobie. In terms of the security, though, she's having a laugh for very good reason. So glad Prince Harry took police off the London streets from fighting crimes to manage this massive, massive crowd. It's journalists, look. And of course, This entire case has exposed Prince Harry's argument, including how he shamefully and disgracefully continues to invoke the memory of his mother, even though Paul Dacre and now Piers Morgan have said, there's no way Diana would have wanted to pursue the Daily Mail. And remember, those two men actually knew Diana.
Diana used to call me regularly. I used to go around for lunch at Kensington Palace. She'd call me. I'd tape the calls and she knew I was taping her. I'd send her the copy of the story I was going to run. She would send it back with little amendments. I've got all this, right? So this idea that Prince Harry seems to want the public to buy into, that every story about him and his family has been gained illegally by terrible journalists, it's just not true.
Well, it's been knocked out. Every single article was legitimately sourced, is Justice Nickland's findings.
Of course it was. And Prince Harry's visit is going just as we expected. The bloke is so shamed that he's actually been to the Chelsea hospital today without Meghan Markle. And guess what? No crowds turned up. There's no pictures. There's no drama. I'm sure they'll be released once they're heavily edited, and probably they've filled in the top of his head because, good Lord, this guy is going bald. But that is a whole other issue. Alarmingly bald, you might say. But on a much more serious note, has the time come after this defeat to now remove Prince Harry from the line of succession? I believe absolutely, and I will reveal the results of a major outspoken poll on this in just one moment. But my friend Alison Pearson, who is the star columnist of the Daily Telegraph, remember the Telegraph is the royal newspaper, is now writing what would previously have been unthinkable, demanding that it is time to remove Harry. She says the Duke's failed court case and disastrous UK visit prove he remains a petulant boy who choked on his silver spoon. And she added, you can bet the Sussexes will not be getting an invitation to the coronation of King William. My guess is the new monarch will act swiftly to create a smaller royal family, cutting Harry and his two children out of the line of succession altogether. And so say all of us. Archie and Lilibet are essentially Americans, with no knowledge of this nation. Frankly, it is insulting that they carry British titles, which are all about cachet untethered to duty. No wonder Harry is now making a last-ditch attempt to re-ingratiate himself with Papa, tempting him with access to his own grandchildren to protect his inheritance. There's only one person to blame for this bitter state of affairs, an angry boy who choked on his silver spoon, deserted his responsibilities, trashed the monarchy, and railed against the invasion of his privacy, yet was perfectly happy to invade the privacy of his nearest and dearest for money. So that's not fair. Oh, I think you'll find, people, that it's perfectly fair. The British are no longer wild about Harry. And that is absolutely true because over 40,000 of you have voted in my major poll on YouTube, where I asked, after today's devastating court loss versus the Daily Mail, should Prince Harry now be removed from the line of succession? 93% of you say yes, just 7% of you say no. So let's get to a very special royal superstar panel on this day of major breaking news. Royal YouTube sensation Steph the Alter Nerd, and according to Taz with me. Tash, look, I believe this is now so serious for King Charles that the line of succession has to be considered, that the royal website has to be considered. Absolutely, the Councillor of State situation has to be considered. I mean, let's just think about the seriousness of what Harry has done overnight, Tash. In some ways, it's been missed because of the overwhelming nature of the verdict. But Harry has gone public and effectively suggested that his own father's justice system is crooked, that he has been subjected to a whitewash. I mean, this is the most serious claim. He is now such a liability to the royal family. And I'm sorry, Tash, more action does need to be taken, surely, by Charles.
Oh, honestly, don't apologise to me over this one. I'm with this 100%. I mean, one thing that the king can absolutely do without the government, without having to get the ball rolling in that department, and let's be honest, Dan, our government's a complete shambles at the moment. They can't even get themselves together, let alone action in something as having Harry removed, having his dukedom removed, or removing him from the line of succession. but he can have him taken off the royal family website. This isn't the first time Harry has done this. We know that Harry is hot-headed. After he lost his final appeal to do with his security, we know he appeared on that BBC interview. There was no pushback, which was not really that shocking from the BBC. But the accusations that he levelled at his father, the British government, he attacked the government. He said it was an establishment stitch-up. We know that he's been lobbying 2 Home Secretaries, and Lord alone knows how many other people that he has been using his title to throw his weight around. And in this instance, I mean, it is really shocking. He's done a public statement attacking the judge, accusing the judge of corruption, of covering up illegal deeds committed by this media organization. This is absolutely massive that he's done it. And I'm very surprised that Baroness Lawrence went along with it. But I did note it was only she and Harry that have agreed to do that joint statement together, because I think the others have gone, do you know what? That judge is going to decide exactly how much money we've got to pay out. It's time to maybe pipe down and keep our heads below the parapet here. Whereas Harry, well, I hope his bill gets doubled from this by the judge, and contempt of court. Publicly trashing a judge after that is just honestly mind-blowing.
Absolutely, and I do want to come to the money implications in one moment, actually. But do you agree, Steph, that actually now is the time? Because I give Charles a huge amount of credit for slamming the doors to Buckingham Palace shut and actually locking the gate this week. But it worries me that this was so close to happening, Steph, because just imagine the optics if he had decided to record a video responding to this court case or deliver an interview from within rooms of Buckingham Palace. I mean, I would argue, Steph, that could then have become a constitutional crisis.
Well, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, I think that was Hazard's plan all along, because he only wanted to stay in Buckingham Palace for one night on Tuesday night, not the full duration of his trip. Why would that be? It would be because, as far as I'm concerned, he wanted to then set up another interview, let's say, with the BBC, like he did last year when he lost his case for the security situation, but have it at Buckingham Palace and be like, oh, why, it didn't go in my favour because the judge is crooked, why. I think that's exactly what his plan was, that King Charles got onto it and, like you eloquently said, closed the gates, shut the door and was like, hell no, we are not falling for that BS whatsoever. Now, very quickly, you allude to his statement that he and Doreen Lawrence put out afterwards, after the judgment came over yesterday. For me, when I read it, it was all red flag city, in the sense of, when you read that statement and you read between the lines, for me, I don't think this is over. I think somehow, some way, Prince Harry is going to fight this to the bitter end, exactly like he did with the security situation. He's going to try some way to try and appeal this.
Well, what's interesting is Cameron Walker, who we spoke about earlier, who is now effectively the new Omid Scobie. I mean, I'm just so embarrassed about what GB News has become, but that is a whole other conversation. Imagine when I was at GB News becoming the propagandist for these two. But he actually went on air this morning, live on air, and said that Harry's team have not decided if they are going to appeal or not, which is astonishing. Tash, it very much seems like Charlotte Griffiths is correct on Meghan Markle choosing to stay away for this London part of the trip, not because of security, but because she did not want to be dragged into Harry's courtroom humiliation. I think she very much knew he was going to lose and is doing a bit of I told you so, because remember, Tash, she was meant to be at Chelsea Hospital today in the famous operational notes that were sent to all of the little propagandists on the WhatsApp group. That was meant to be Meghan's big moment, and she wasn't there. And she wasn't there yesterday either, by the way, when he was having some type of breakdown.
It's not the first time, though, when there was backlash to do with Spare, when Harry lost multiple times to do with the security court case when he was in the UK. Whenever Harry has ever needed his wife, probably a good hug, like we saw recently with Catherine coming down that mountain and Prince William being there to give her such a loving embrace, Meghan is never, ever there to support her husband when he needs her. Everybody, including Harry, everybody's got to coddle Meghan, but she should have been there at the very least, even if she didn't want to make an appearance. You think, given that she is supposed to know the fragile state of mind her husband has been put in by all of this stress, because she often parrots this as well, but there's never any concern for Harry. She's the most targeted woman. She's the most bullied woman. She's the biggest victim out of them. And Harry probably could have done with a bit of support from her, because let's be honest, he's not got many other people in his life willing to stick their neck out and to support him, because he's destroyed all of his relationships. But for Meghan to not be there, even in the background, that to me is not a good marriage. That is not a loving marriage. Even if my husband didn't want to go to an event, if he knew there was potential of me being upset at an event or something potentially upsetting me, he would have been waiting in the wings. That's what you do in a marriage. But Harry is always there for Meghan, and she is never, ever there for him when he needs her. And I think that's very, very telling about the true nature of their marriage. And I don't think it's a happy one.
Yeah, Steph, the Ultra Nerd, Charlotte Griffiths, telling me that actually the rows, what she describes as stand-up rows between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are becoming ever more common. And she says the marriage is now toxic. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance. Some can even be harmful to your skin. Now, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? Well, so that he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face, and you may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method, because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. And he says if it even helps one person look younger or feel more confident, he will be thrilled knowing he helped. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then, it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below. That's bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing that Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
I'm not surprised. The marriage has been toxic pretty much right from the beginning. The relationship has been toxic right from the start. If you're to believe that Meghan Markle actually targeted Prince Harry through her Soho contacts, Marcus Anderson, this, that, and the other, and that she never really married for love. She married for money, status, but then when she found out that Prince Harry wasn't the billionaire that she thought he was going to be, then whoopsie, we're going to have to leave the royal family and go to pastures new in Hollywood to make our billions there. Well, look how that's turned out, right? For an alleged narcissistic nutbag from hell, when anything goes wrong in her life, what is she to do? Blame everyone but herself. Now, Harry's on the hook for a large portion to pay over £50 million in court cases, from this court case, apologies. Money which, if you're to believe the reports, Harry and Meghan really don't have anymore.
No, although I
So-
do think a large proportion of it will be covered by insurance. But Charlotte Griffiths says all of that is being ironed out over the next few weeks. I do also feel a little bit mean doing this, but there is a big but, which is that he started it. Okay? He started it when he spoke about William's alarming baldness in Spare. And it was actually Andrew Lawrence who found the picture. He's a brilliant comedian here in the United Kingdom. And he wrote, effing hell, mate, Clippers, #1 all over. And then this video has been released showing Harry's very alarming baldness on the way in to Chatham House. And again, I actually don't belittle it really, because we know this is something that very much gets to Harry, Tash. Like, it is a big, big problem for him. And I think it all is part of this idea that he has unraveled, and that the life that he expected to be this sort of young Hollywood heartthrob has not worked out. And I actually do think, in all seriousness, once it gets to that point, you should do a William. You know, William just shaved it all off, and then he had his renaissance.
Yeah, Prince William definitely aging like a fine wine, whereas Harry is more like spilt milk. It's unfortunate for Harry, you know, male baldness is something that affects so many people. People can't help it. But it was Harry, like you said, that started it by trying to be very unkind about Prince William, and people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Harry and Meghan seem to throw boulders around, really, with regards to everything. But yes, with Harry's hair loss, the amount of stress he's been under since he married Meghan, I think it's definitely sped it up, because he did have a thicker Brillo pad of hair until his wedding. And then everything from Megxit and everything else, everything he's given up, everything, you know, the stress of constantly trying to make his wife happy. Well, he's definitely lost pretty much all of it. And it's now, it looks worse because he chooses to keep that haircut. And it reminds me of the hairstyle that monks used to have, where they deliberately shave the bald bit and then keep the thick rim round it, you know, and it is better. I think I've got to agree with the comedian there, that he needs to just, you know, give it up, Harry. The hair plugs didn't work. It's time to just let it go. Let it go.
Let it go, indeed. Now,
He's not gonna let any
the
of this go.
the money. We've got to talk about the money. Royal News Network's been doing a bit of work on this, with Brittany posting, here's what we know about Prince Harry's potential legal bill after his spectacular loss against Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday Associated newspapers. It's less than you might think. The claimants, which include Harry, were collectively insured for £14.1 million for the Daily Mail's cost. The claimants also had personal insurance policies of £2.35 million. That's a collective £30.55 million. But if you lose a court case like this, then you are generally required to not only pay your costs, but the defendant's costs as well. So here are the overall costs of the case in December 2025. We know these details as the court was incredibly concerned with the astronomical costs of the case and wanted to make sure both sides knew the financial impact of proceeding and potentially losing the case. Claimants cost £18.7 million. A&L costs £19.9 million. Overall costs £38.6 million. However, after the case was argued over several weeks, the costs are now estimated at an overall £50 million. At this point, there could be an outstanding £22.6 million that's not covered by insurance, and there are potential damages to consider. That will be determined in a hearing scheduled for July 29. The court held an entire hearing to warn the claimants that this case could be a fool's errand, but they proceeded anyways. And now all could face a legal bill of around £3.23 million each, which will probably be easier for some to pay than others. If the damages are significant, that could increase even more. Now, there is the prospect, Tash, that has been raised to me of, will Elton John bail out Prince Harry? Was there some type of agreement done? Because you'll remember, Tash, the original introduction to the slippery lawyer, David Sherborne, was done at the French estate of Elton John. Do you think, Tash, that might be something that happens. Because at this stage, even £3 million for Prince Harry is devastating, remembering that's about his security bill per year, which we know he is desperately trying to avoid having to pay, hence the total craven desire to get the British security.
Well, Harry's very entitled anyway, but he and Meghan have made a very, very big habit of asking for freebies off of people. I mean, anything from flights to holiday homes, all sorts of things. You know, they do not like dipping their hands in their own pockets. Whether Harry would have been intelligent enough to maybe get a deal like that put in the...
Today's headlines are dominated by one story. Prince Harry has suffered a major setback in his legal battle against Associated Newspapers, the publishers of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. The High Court's decision has prompted strong reactions across Britain's media, with newspapers portraying the ruling as a significant victory for the publisher and a damaging defeat for the Duke of Sussex. The front pages reflected the scale of the moment. The Daily Mail described the outcome as vindication, while other tabloids used eye-catching headlines highlighting Harry's loss. The coverage signaled more than just another courtroom ruling. It reignited the long-running debate surrounding Prince Harry's campaign against sections of the British press. Despite the defeat, Prince Harry made it clear he does not agree with the court's conclusions. In public remarks following the judgment, he criticized the outcome and suggested that the legal process had failed to deliver accountability. His comments immediately generated fresh controversy, with supporters arguing he continues to challenge media practices, while critics accused him of refusing to accept the court's decision. The judgment itself proved particularly significant because it addressed the quality of evidence presented during the proceedings. According to the court, Prince Harry's testimony was limited on several of the central issues under examination. The judge also stated that parts of the evidence moved beyond established facts into speculation and allegations that were not sufficiently supported. The ruling further criticized aspects of the claimant's wider case, noting that some of the evidence relied upon was inconsistent or ultimately unconvincing. Particular attention was given to material provided by a private investigator whose evidence had played an important role in bringing several high-profile claimants into the lawsuit. The court found that this evidence had been substantially undermined during the proceedings. The decision has prompted widespread reaction from journalists, legal commentators, and royal observers. Some argued that the judgment represents an important affirmation of the legal process, while others viewed it as a major blow to Prince Harry's years-long effort to challenge what he believed were unlawful practices by parts of the British media. Several commentators also focused on Harry's response to the ruling. Because judges in England and Wales delivered justice on behalf of the Crown, some critics questioned whether his public criticism of the judgment could create further tensions between the Duke of Sussex and the institution of the monarchy. At the same time, others pointed out that Harry has previously won legal actions against other newspaper publishers, arguing that this latest defeat does not erase those earlier victories. Supporters say his broader campaign has already changed the conversation about press accountability, even if individual cases. Away from the courtroom, attention also turned to Prince Harry's public appearance later that day at Chatham House. Observers who attended the event noted that he appeared subdued while delivering his speech. Some described him as visibly affected by the court's decision, although only Prince Harry himself knows how he was feeling during the appearance. His wife, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, was not present during the event, leading to widespread speculation in sections of the media. Various commentators offered differing opinions about her absence, but no official explanation was provided, making it impossible to The discussion surrounding Harry's appearance quickly expanded beyond the legal case itself. For critics, the ruling marked another difficult chapter in the Duke's ongoing relationship with Britain, the media, and the royal family. For supporters, however, the defeat represented only one stage in a much longer campaign that Prince Harry has repeatedly said he intends to continue. Regardless of where public opinion falls, the court's judgment has undeniably become one of the most significant moments in Prince Harry's legal battles against the British press. It has reignited debate over privacy, journalism, accountability, and the complicated relationship between the Duke of Sussex and the institutions he has challenged in recent years. As reactions continue to emerge from across the political, legal, and royal landscape, one thing is clear: this ruling is unlikely to be the final chapter in Prince Harry's ongoing disputes with the British media.